After some truly epic, perhaps too epic excursions with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, the Assassin's Creed franchise returns to its roots with Assassin's Creed Mirage. I've had a chance to play through the entire game, and I have to tell you something, there were a ton of people that worked on this game from around the world, and it kind of blew me away, just the level of credits. There were just so many individuals that contributed to making this game, because the game feels much smaller than what we've seen over the past 3 iterations of Assassin's Creed. And I know that the complaints around the last 3 games were that they were too large, and they would basically have to, and I had some of these complaints as well, you just basically had to give over your life to play through them. There was tons of DLC, but they were also incredibly ambitious and beautiful, and they stacked in all kinds of traditional role-playing elements in there, so you're leveling up and getting all kinds of loot and augmenting everything. But the other thing that they did with the previous Assassin's Creed games is they went into mysticism and they expanded on the overall Assassin's Creed lore in some interesting ways, and Mirage doesn't do that. It's really kind of a straightforward experience. You play a thief turned assassin named Basim who runs around city streets stealing from people, and then eventually starts sneaking in all kinds of palaces and gardens and harems and things, and starts stabbing people with your hidden blade as you become part of the Hidden Ones, the Order of the Assassins. Along the way, you meet up with a master assassin named Roshan, played by Shohreh Aghdashloo, and she gives you all kinds of new insight into your purpose, and essentially you become kind of like this murderous Robin Hood who's running in and sneaking into all kinds of buildings, killing all of these political leaders and civic leaders, people that have dark hearts and deserve to go down. And of course they have tons of minions that don't come in tons of varieties, by the way. You've only got the kind of standard goon, and then you've got the more armored goon, and then you've got the kind of more fast-paced armored goon. There was a flamethrower guy that I had to fight, which was kind of fun, but it doesn't really scale much beyond that. That is not to say, though, that I didn't have a very good time being a stealthy, sneaky son of a gun. It was really cool to go back to the roots and utilize my Basim as just this incredibly tuned killer, and to use the environments around me so I could drop items on different bad guys. I could also use my tool chest with my blow dart and my trap, but the thing that I liked the most were my throwing knives. And all of the gadgets can be leveled up, and the knives actually get this incredible ability to dissolve the people that you kill with them, which was incredibly useful. I ended up using that a lot. But the limited scale of weaponry that you have, you get a sword and you get a dagger, and you're doing all kinds of whirling moves and some blocks and things like that. But it was much more scaled down than what we just saw in Valhalla, which had all kinds of different weapons and axes and these crazy animations. This is much more singular focused. It's much more about tuning into this one character and seeing what kind of damage they can do, as they have this kind of detective sort of murder board where all kinds of clues reveal who your next enemy is going to be, and you're tracing a path through the streets of Baghdad. But Baghdad is the star of the show. I mean, the city is just absolutely gorgeous. There's all kinds of detail. It really feels like people are going on with their lives. They're selling you things. They're walking around. You're stealing from them. It kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit, because you're trying to do the right thing as an assassin, but you're also stealing from all of the townsfolk, and a lot of them look like they really could use that coin purse that you're ripping off from them. But you need that loot, because some of that loot you use to bribe some of the different townspeople that you need to gain access into environments that you need to get into so you can make that ultimate kill. And so you're constantly conniving, and you're interacting with lots of people across the town, and you're asking them questions and interrogating and eavesdropping. And of course you're conversing with other hidden ones as well and getting more details and stuff. But there is a tremendous amount of exposition about characters that you don't know. And so it's all being revealed to you, and it's just this blast of information. You know, the standard thing with Assassin's Creed games where there's just so much plot device to kind of fill in the backstory, but you don't get their point of view. And so I found myself, I knew who I was hunting, but just by the icon more than the name, the story wasn't sort of smacking me in the face, and I wasn't remembering every one of these different details. I knew I had to kill this person over here, and I had to kill that person over there. It's cool to fill in the murder board. It's cool to see all of the kind of details sort of coming into fruition, and you get to the ultimate big bad at the end. But there's something about that exposition-heavy Assassin's Creed storytelling that needs to be refined. Just like the overall sort of level design and the construct of this game has been refined, taking from what was learned in the past, even the most recent past, and refining it and making it incredibly accessible to play and not overwhelming. It's not an especially long game. It's going to take you about 20 hours or so to beat the full campaign. But the thing that kind of disappointed me about beating Assassin's Creed Mirage is I was waiting for some big shocks, and the game doesn't really deliver those like some previous Assassin's Creed games have been able to do. It's a very solid, fun, competent game, and as beautiful as the visuals of Baghdad are, which is a contained city, by the way, you're really just in Baghdad, which is refreshing, but as beautiful as these visuals are of the city, the music is also sensational in this game. It really just wells up with these lush strings and moody cellos and all of this Arabic singing. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous and enveloping. They did an incredible job production-wise with this. I do wish that the facial animations were a little bit better. I've been playing games like Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, which just has, I think, state-of-the-art in terms of facial animations when you get next to characters and you start talking with them. I've also been swinging through another massive open-world game, which has some really great storytelling. And even thinking back to the fidelity of Valhalla, I feel like they took a step back with some of the character interaction stuff here. And of course, I can't review Assassin's Creed in isolation, not by what exists in the sort of competition field around this game, but also all of the Assassin's Creed games that we've had in the past. I think, though, what excites me the most about Assassin's Creed Mirage, because it is fun, and I think that longtime fans of the franchise will get a lot out of jumping back into this, I do also think that there's a lot of competition for you to also scope out right now. But what excites me the most about this game is that it sets up, it's almost like a reboot, it's like a refresh, a new way to play the game, taking a little bit from what we've played with the more massive RPG-style experiences and all the history of Assassin's Creed, and refining it using sort of contemporary technology to kind of make everything look a lot better and see where we go from here. So I'm excited to see what we get next with Assassin's Creed, but I hope it's not too soon, because that's one of the issues with this franchise that we all know. It's just been too many of them, and they've hit so consecutively like clockwork that it kind of numbed the experience. If this is your first Assassin's Creed game, it's honestly a pretty damn good way to start the experience, but this franchise gets deep, and boy, you will spend thousands of hours playing Assassin's Creed games. You won't spend thousands of hours playing Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I think you're going to have a pretty good time. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.